Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'll be showing you what it's like to dive at Great Barrier Island as an intermediate Spearo diving for butterfish and crays. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's jump in. In this dive, I was just trying to get some butterfish and crays, as I don't usually get many of them because I'm based in Auckland. But I ended up getting a couple butterfish and a cray the other day, so I was pretty happy. What I'm doing here is I'm diving down and sitting in the kelp, which I'm sure many of you know. It's a very good way to get butterfish as they pop right out and shoot them very easily, as you can see in this clip. Now at this point in the dive, I didn't want to load up on too many butterfish as I didn't know that we're leaving the next day. But shortly after in this trip, I found out that we're going to be leaving the next day as of the cyclone that was coming down. So what would have been 8 days of diving became about 3. So I decided to shoot a bit more butterfish and load up on some pigfish. Now I shot this butterfish, but unfortunately the camera was aimed down, so I didn't get it on video. Anyway, it got a little bit tangled in the kelp, so I just pulled it all out and brought it up to the surface to icky it. It was a nice big fat butterfish, I was pretty happy with it. You can see the other 3 butterfish that I shot off camera in the float boat. Now I was looking for some crays in this dive, as previously the day before I had got a cray and I knew there was some around. But unfortunately they were all in these really tight cracks and crevices, so they were really hard to get. Now unfortunately on this trip to the barrier I didn't know any spots, so I sort of had to find them all myself, and the crays I found here were small, like barely legal to medium sized crays. This all made it quite a lot harder to get any, but I guess spots for the next trip now. Now from the previous fish I've shot and this one that I shot off camera, this shark came in to come check me out, maybe try to steal the fish that was in my hand. Now one thing to note with sharks is you just gotta scare them off. You can't act scared or timid around them, you just gotta chase them off. This is really the only good way to get rid of them. And it's really good for newbie Spearos or swimmers, as if they associate evil with fear, they'll swim off if they see you, so please just scare them off. As you can see in this dive, this shark eventually got scared off because I was just chasing it around for a while and I just continued shooting fish and that was fine. So just scare them off, you'll be good. Eventually I found this nice pigfish which I just shot from the top, as they're not super skittish. I just ickied him and chucked him in the float boat with the butterfish that I'd shot previously, also unfortunately off camera. After that I found another nice pigfish which I just went down and also shot from the top. Pretty easy to shoot pigfish once you find them. Just got my spear and my gun, so if that shark came back it'd be easy to fend it off with less stuff in the water. Just hickied this fish and chucked it on the clip on the back of my gun before I get the float boat. Reload my gun and then go off to look at this cool school of bait fish that came through the shallows. Now I just came to check out this pretty school of bait fish that came through the shallows. It's really good conditions on this day, which made for some really nice diving. Then I got into some more cray diving, checking all these little small cracks and crevices to try find a cray. Here's a note or a tip for you. Crays usually like hiding in small holes, pretty much just as big as them. You won't usually find them in big holes unless it's like a big boulder, and then they'll be really deep inside of them or under them. Now, in this crack, I'd actually got a cray from it the day before, but there was also a smaller cray in it, which is what I reached for, but I realized it was a little bit small, so I just left it. But I did come back to check this crack a little bit more, as it was really deep and I thought there could be another cray in it, maybe. Now, believe it or not, there was actually a cray in this crack, but you couldn't see it because of the way the camera was positioned, which is why I came up to the top of it, but I just gave up on it eventually because I really couldn't get to it. It was around like a bend. Now, I'm not the greatest cray diver. I messed up a lot of grabs the day before on some crays that I could have gotten if I was a bit better. But I would highly recommend getting a dive torch, as the cray that I got yesterday, I couldn't have gotten without a dive torch, and I couldn't have attempted any of those other crays that I said I missed without a dive torch. I'd highly recommend getting one. Now, what was happening in this clip is I saw a butterfish, and I tried to go get it, but it just swam away from me too quickly, so I just went and sat in the kelp and tried to lure it back in, because they sort of just appear when you sit in the kelp. Here's a bit more sitting in that kelp, trying to get a butterfish to come in, as our dive had been cut short from an 8-day trip to a 3-day trip. This clip here is just so beautiful. Look at all those bait fish. I was super stoked to be at the barrier, even though my trip had been cut short. I can't complain, honestly. Here once again, I was just sitting and stalking, trying to wait for a butterfish to come in. Now, one thing to note is they like very localized. This was about 30 meters away from where I'd shot all those butterfish before, or maybe even less, and there weren't any butterfish around, so that's just one thing to note. Just checking all these cracks in, trying to find one of those crays that I scared off the day before, as there was 2 really nice sized ones. Now, here's one thing I want to note. The day before, there were 2 nice crays in this crack, and I tried to put my spear into it and tuck it behind the crays to pull them out, because I thought it was a really deep crack. But turns out it was shallow, and they ended up just both getting away. Long story short, I went to look for one, and the other one just left its crack and went somewhere else. Don't know where it went. Now the shark came through one last time and just instantly swam away, as I'd sort of been bullying it earlier. Which, this is a very good response, it's pretty timid now. Oh, and also a pretty cool thing to see is after the stingray saw I'd been scaring off the shark, it became really friendly towards me. I'm not too sure why, but this is the friendliest I've ever seen a stingray, so I'd assume it's because it saw the shark was scared of me. I had one last check in that area where I saw that bait fish earlier, and I was happy to see they were all still there. Super pretty. Now that pretty much wraps up my dive. I got 4 butterfish and 2 pigfish, unfortunately no cray. But I had a really good time and it was some really nice diving, so I was pretty happy. Now, one last thing I'd like to say before this video ends is please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the video.